Hello friends, welcome back to the bench. Our patient is actually there's a cute story behind this one. So as you can see we have two ECMs on the bench. Our actual patient is this one, and this is AM39A. I think that's Outback. I'm not sure, the customer did tell me, or I think he did. But he purchased this ECM from me. I'm not sure whether actually even because it was quite a few weeks now. Either he purchased this one from me or he sent this one to me for VIN programming. He received it back and the car wouldn't start. And as you can see, this is AC66B, right? And it might be the same model and the same year, but do not go by that. Always go by the numbers on the ECM. Some numbers don't have to match, but it's got to be more or less the same. And this one is AM39A. So obviously they're not compatible by any stretch of the imagination. So I was thinking there's no way I recommended this one, because if the customer told me that this is the number on the ECM, and as you can see, the note over here, misfire cylinder 1 goes away when pushing on the ECM harness, right? And when you push over here, this wasn't stated, but when you push over here, the misfire goes away. So that's a classic IC608 issue, the injector driver. So if I knew that, if I knew the number and the symptoms, this would have been a lot quicker. We wouldn't have to do the cloning or anything of that sort. So that's too bad. But so what the customer tried to do was to limit the downtime of the car, because that's his daily driver. So he wanted the replacement ECM, right, and just do the swap, right, plug and play. And usually that is how it works, but not with these ECMs, meaning the ones that have IC608 over here, right? So if you open it and you see this little chip over here, little square chip, and it says IC608, that's going to be your problem, all right? So no cloning, no replacement needed. And with these, unfortunately, for whatever reason, these are really expensive. They go for as much as $500, even without cloning. I can get you one for roughly $500 with your VIN, so it will be plug and play. But if your problem is misfires, then just send it in for repair. It's a lot cheaper, because this repair is below $200, and the ECM replacement is $500. And I'm saying for some reason these are more expensive, because it's not like they are more sophisticated. It's not like they have some unique technology on them. They're just more rare. They break, or they experience issues with IC608, and they're a lot more rare. You can get them, right? I have two of them in stock, and I acquired them over the period of 2 years. So roughly, especially in a good price, so below $200, because you can get them for that much, and you have to, it takes time to find a deal like that. Typically, you can find them for roughly $500, maybe even more on eBay. But from time to time, they come up, and I acquired mine for below $200 each, right? So I just keep them in stock. I don't even list them for sale, because from time to time I get a curious case where the IC608 replacement didn't help, and the car either doesn't start or is still misfiring, that kind of stuff. In which case, I just, clone your ECM to the replacement ECM, and then I send you the replacement just to make absolute sure that it's not the ECM problem. And it's almost never an ECM problem. If this repair doesn't help, it's definitely not an ECM problem. And sometimes it happens. It can be very tricky to diagnose properly. And by properly, I mean to diagnose with certainty that it's the ECM that is responsible, because there's a lot of moving parts, right? And even if you replace the coils, you replace the injector, it still misfires. There can be a variety of different other issues that can cause that behavior. So that's why I keep them. But that's why this situation is kind of unique, because it could have been a plain and simple IC608 job, but since there was miscommunication between us, or the issue, because you probably should have just that's always produces the best results. If you just tell me exactly what the problem is, and don't jump to conclusions, right? I might be able to save you some time. But in this case, there was I didn't get the story from the customer, basically, right? I just got the inquiry like, can you program this ECM for me? No problem. And usually after hearing that, I usually ask, what's the issue on the original one? But in this case, since I didn't know what the actual number was, and instead the customer just purchased the AC version of the ECM, then I just didn't think much of it, which I probably should have, right? I probably should have inquired, and that would probably save some time. So yeah, you can blame me. That is fair. Okay, now let's get this fixed up, and we'll ship it tomorrow morning. No extra charges or anything, because it's fine. It's fine. I'm glad we finally found the culprit, right? We're gonna get this one fixed. Now, since my last rant on Elon Musk, there was a lot of developments, but I'm tired of talking of Elon Musk, because I checked the stock price of Tesla, and it looks like since November, so since the election, or since Donald Trump was elected 47th president, the stock went up by almost 100%. Right, it was somewhere around $200. Now it's somewhere around $400. So it was like 78% increase or something like that. So it looks like it definitely worked for Musk. But it has been reported that the banks and investment firms and stuff, they're dumping the stock. They're dumping the Tesla stock. And what was it? CTO? No, CFO, or I don't know, some insider also expressed that, if you have Tesla stock, get rid of it. And since it's you know, and pretty high now, you know, be it 70, be it even 50% up. That is definitely a good advice to sell it, because, you know, you're gonna make some money depending on when you bought in. So that's probably a general good advice to sell Tesla stock, because it probably won't go any higher than $400, right? But it is still the most popular stock, right? So just because the investors are dumping doesn't mean the, you know, people that have Robinhood account and you know, like normal people, not investors, just regular traders, they still might be investing, and it looks like they are, because the stock is up. But I'm curious what's going to happen if they actually do dump Tesla. But even if they do, I don't think that's going to hurt Musk, because he's all in on AI, and the president announced big investments into AI and all that stuff. So he will likely still get his golden package. He'll still be okay. He'll still make money. But meanwhile, China came up with their own ChatGPT, which is supposedly cheaper and faster or whatever, basically better, right? So that's definitely going to be a blow to all of those US companies that invested a lot in this technology. It was just a matter of time to improve that, right? So, you know, if it's not China, it's going to be some other country. You gotta stay on the top of your game if you want to stay in this game. That also means that perhaps Nvidia is going to suffer some financial repercussions because of that, because maybe we no longer need their sophisticated chips. Who knows what it's going to be. But so far, since you know, I'm thinking that, because since the stock is still up, you know, there's it doesn't matter what people say and what people think, especially, you know, uninformed people like myself. But I was thinking, since there's a lot of talk of dumping Tesla stock, maybe that is the repercussion of that gaming stunt that Musk pulled off, completely unnecessarily. And maybe it did have some impact. I don't know. Because I was curious about whether there's going to be any repercussions on Elon because of that completely unnecessary stunt, like that serves nothing and no one. So we'll see. But what I find more important in all this is the TikTok ban. That, well, it didn't really appear, because as far as I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, but TikTok just kind of right before the inauguration, TikTok just kind of banned itself. It just stopped servicing US customers, basically, right? So it's not like because I've heard the concerns from people that how is it that the government can just block the entire app, and you know, and that was the big takeaway of that whole situation. But As far as I know, it wasn't the government that blocked the app. It just the servers, the app servers, just rejected the traffic from US IPs, right? And even if that was the case, you can still access the app using VPN, spoofing your location. If you're a consumer of the app, obviously that's an added cost if you don't already use VPN. I don't know if as a creator you would be able to actually create on the app spoofing your location and then providing your billing address in US and actually earning money, and while the app is technically banned in United States. I don't know if that would be possible, but as a viewer you can still access it. But probably if no US creators were on the app, then probably US consumers would not be interested in actually viewing content on that app. That's at least what I would assume. But the bottom line is that as far as I know, it wasn't the ban from the government. It was the app just said no more US traffic. So yeah, don't be alarmed. Or maybe because the point still stands. Yeah, can the US government block the certain app or certain locations, certain servers from somewhere else, right, from other country? And yes, the answer is yes. Maybe yes, with a little asterisk, with a little caveat, because it all depends on how you acquire your internet, and if you use GPS internet or satellite internet, that would be harder. If you use this this global internet, I mean, not the Starlink or whatever it's called internet, the lower orbit internet. I mean those where you have like few satellites for the entire planet, right? The latency is huge. The ping is very significant. So it's not like you can use that internet to play games or something, but you can still watch TikTok and stuff if that's your thing. But other than that, yes, the government can block certain traffic. Because the majority of the internet that comes to and from United States is like those 3 or 4 undersea cables that connect United States to the rest of the world. So yes, that the government can definitely do that. Even if this was not the case with TikTok, this is definitely something that it could happen. China is the leader in that technology of blocking access for people. I worked for this fintech company at some point a few years back, and we were supposed to cooperate with China, right? Basically offer our services in China. So our guys were sent, even the CEO went there, and they were sent there to just kind of present our technology and all of that. And the Chinese people took all that and and kind of changed their mind. Once they learned our technology, they pretty much changed their minds and figured, yeah, fine, we don't want you anymore. We're just gonna make it ourselves. We're just gonna take what you did, because now we see how it works and everything, and we're just gonna recreate it ourselves. So that's typically how working with Chinese companies turns out. Have no illusions. They don't, as far as the business goes, right? It might be a good business move, not so much ethical move, but business move. Yeah, sounds good, right? You just take someone's technology and reproduce it. They've been doing that for a long time now. We shouldn't be surprised. And there is some benefit to it, because that way we can have a lot of goods that would have been otherwise too expensive, inaccessible to the regular consumer, right? So there is some good for the consumers, but yeah, for the IP, for the companies working on new technologies and stuff, that kind of sucks. I can definitely understand that. I didn't really have a skin in the game in that, so it's not like, well, I didn't stay long enough in the company anyways to actually get too attached, and I had my issues with them, mainly efficacy of the business and the perception. It's not like they were doing something unethical as far as the providing services. No, that's everything was legit and everything, but as far as the company and the people, the management, basically, I was not happy with that, so I left. That was the first job that I left without having an offer from another job, right? But I also wanted to stay, because I told the boss that, okay, I will have the final answer for you on such and such day, right? And even though my coworkers said that, who cares, just keep this job until you find another one, right? Who cares? And I cared, I said, nah, I'll find work. And that was still the good old days, where finding a job as a software engineer was not that hard, not as hard as it is now. So yeah, I found a job relatively quickly, in like a month, not even. The job I found actually did not turn out to be a good fit for me. Again, not that the company was bad or anything, it was just not a good fit for me. Anyways, my point was that that's how China works. They just take the technology, they learn, and they oftentimes improve it in terms of costs, right? And since they didn't sign like the agreements that would prevent them from stealing intellectual property, then they are not bound by that. So yeah, it's not anything punishable, that what they do. But that's what they do. That's what they did with ChatGPT, and well, this was bound to happen anyways. So I'm not surprised. This isn't really a technology that is changing the world. Not for the better. That's for sure. But I have two issues with TikTok ban, right? And we're not gonna touch the politics, because this whole ban was initiated by a current administration, right? So the previous administration, Biden, I don't know, they just upheld it or whatever. But originally it was initiated by Trump administration, right? And now Trump administration is they don't want to follow through with that. And again, we're not going to get into the politics, because it doesn't really. No administration is free from scrutiny when it comes to decisions. Those decisions are difficult ones, and they have repercussions, and you don't always see the repercussions as you make the decision. You make the decision, and then after a while it turns out that there are some repercussions that are not great, so you revise your decision, right? Nothing wrong with that. So my two main reasons why TikTok ban was a bad idea. Number one is that it looks like the TikTok was kind of singled out. There's plenty of other technologies that also should be banned just to follow suit. If we're gonna ban this one, then all the other apps and games and stuff, they should also be banned, right? Unless they sell the majority of, or sell the the part that is impacting our country here, right? In whatever way they imagine it does. So that would be my reason number one. It's just follow through. And second reason is actually more of a rational, or definitely more important. Turns out, what was it, 7 million Americans are using that app to make money, and that's their full-time job or side hustle or whatever. They run businesses through those apps. So consider that what's the upside of this, what's our benefit from blocking it, and what's the downside, what's the cost of that. And right now, since the job market is absolutely awful, unfortunately, maybe now in 2025 it's picking up a little bit, although there's plenty of layoffs in 2025. But 2024 was absolutely awful, right? So now, after 2024, now we're gonna ban an application that will cause, say, 7 million people to look for a job because they can no longer do TikTok, And sure, you can split hairs over here or just do victim blaming, like how it was a bad decision to just rely on the app entirely, like your entire business is revolving around that app. And as maybe the point is good, okay, but that still doesn't solve the problem. Why are the TikTokers being punished, right? This isn't good for the citizens, right? This was supposed to be a decision that's going to be good for Americans, right? We don't want the foreign app to do whatever they said the app was doing. So that's fine, but assuming that that's the decision that should benefit Americans. But in this case, it's very far from benefiting Americans. Quite to the contrary. It's a very bad decision for a lot of Americans, right? So that's my main point. So agree with the current administration or disagree for initiating that and not following through or whatever. But I say that once we identify that the decision is not going to benefit those who we thought would benefit, then by all means revert it. Yeah, we were wrong. Nothing wrong with being wrong, as long as you realize it soon enough and admit and correct. All right? It's not about politics. It seemed like a good idea before. Let's terminate TikTok. But as soon as it's evident that it doesn't look so good, then let's revert it. I'm not gonna hold it against you, by no means. But what was curious actually was that the TikTok ban itself right before inauguration, and then after inauguration, even though nothing has changed, right? This wasn't actually enforced, and it's not like the current administration had anything to do with that. That they just decided. It looks to me like they decided they're gonna appear like, we're gonna give our users 24 hours of shutdown, right? And then we're gonna say that, well, now the new administration is in the office, so now you can have your TikTok. But as far as I know, the administration, either current or previous, had nothing to do with that. So that's curious. What's in it for them? Why would they do that? I find that curious. Maybe not necessarily concerning, but at least curious, because there's got to be a meat on the bone for someone. Well, for them, right? For China, or for the, I don't know, China or the the owners of TikTok. So I'm curious what's gonna happen next, because now it looks like, the right out of the gate, the Trump administration had a really good start, right? Like everything, optically, visually, is great for them, right? There was no TikTok. Biden's fault. Objectively, yeah, he was he was still the president when the TikTok got banned, or banned itself. Trump got into the office, and there you got your TikTok back. Awesome. And a few other factors that, if you want to paint Trump in a really favorable light, you can definitely do that easily right now. So great start. I hope they're not gonna ruin it, because I hear there might be another pandemic coming, the bird flu or something. Let's hope that's not gonna happen, because just going off of the first administration, the first term of Trump, that our response was not the best. So I hope it's not gonna be, there's not gonna be another pandemic. But what's actually very sad to me is that events like this, like pandemic, this should be just like war. I was always under the impression that a war should be, from time to time, should appear, or the tough times should come up at some point, just to remind us that, to appreciate when there is no war, to remind us that, or appreciate the time when there is no pandemic, when everything is going well. Because we're very quick to forget, us people. We're very quick to forget what it means when things are not going well. But what makes me is particularly sad is that when those times come, either war or pandemic or what have you, it should unite us, right? Because we have a common enemy, and be it the virus or, I don't know, other country, terrorists or whatever. That should unite us. And in the last pandemic, we were very divided, even though we were all on the same side, right? We don't want to get sick, we don't want to die, right? I think everybody agrees on that. And instead, there was so much division, so much misinformation, disinformation. It was horrible. This shouldn't have been that way. And I don't know if it's too late to unite the America. It might be, you know, it might be too late. Why is this not working? But that is, yeah, that's why I would prefer that there was no pandemic again, because I don't think it's gonna be good for us. Can you believe it? Let's try this one. There you go. Okay. I don't know when our country got so divided. We even fight about stuff that we shouldn't even fight about. There's also so much of, how do I call it? I don't know. So much hate for some reason. So much greed. You know, it's kind of understandable that everybody's on the edge. Everybody's looking for people to blame, be it the immigrants, the CEOs of medical insurance companies, because times are pretty tough, you know. Back in the day, making, six figures was, you were well off. Now, as far as I can tell, if you don't make six figures, you're struggling, unless you live in affordable housing, or your house is paid off and you're in the area where the insurance is not insanity. Then maybe you're doing okay, but still not great. And now, even with six-figure salary, even upper six figures, maybe close to $200,000 a year, that's no longer, not that I make that much, so I wouldn't know. But as far as I, calculate my budget, and considering how much I make, I can't imagine making, like, say, half of that. I wouldn't be able to even pay the rent. Last year I saved $5,000 throughout the entire year, right? Which you might say is excellent, because I didn't go into debt. I was laid off, so for 2 months I didn't work. So that's a big blow, right? And yet I still didn't lose money last year, and I even managed to close the year with $1,000 on the positive side. No credit card debt. My only debt that I have is the car, which I'm paying off this year by, I don't remember, November or August, I don't remember, somewhere by closer to the end of the year. So I'm gonna be completely debt free in a few months now, which puts me in comparably in a much better position than a lot of my fellow working people are, right? But if you don't save money every year, then I don't have a house. I was going to buy a house, or buy a house to put the down payment for the house, and then pay it off, you know, as a mortgage. But I already talked about that. But the main issue is that it's very unstable right now, and it might turn out that I just can't afford to have that house, right? I can afford to put the down payment and sign a, I don't know, sign a contract or whatever, the lease, a mortgage for say 20 years. But what I wanted to actually do is just get a house that I can actually afford, my down payment to be maybe 40% of the whole value of the house, maybe 50, and then pay off the rest in the matter of few years. But I hear that there's no lender that is gonna go for that, because there's not enough skin on the not enough meat on the bone for them, right? It's just term is too short, so it's just more hassle for them than than it's worth. So that's probably not gonna happen, and I don't think I'm gonna be signing a mortgage for 25 years. I really don't think I will. But who knows, maybe. So yeah, at the moment I'm kinda just seeing what's gonna happen. And part of that is just staying current with the current events, seeing where the market is gonna go, because typically if you're not the first one to make the move, then you're standing in line behind everyone else, and by the time it makes sense to everyone else, it's no longer a good deal. So that was the market that was in what was it, 2021, or I don't know, where a lot of people could buy houses. And I missed that window because I didn't have money, and now that window has closed, so now I need to wait for another window to open, and we'll see. But anyways, this is done. I'll do some more cleaning in a minute, but I gotta take a break and do some other stuff, and I'll finish this in a little bit. But that is the repair. These are my thoughts. Hit the like if you like, hit the dislike if you did not like. And I shall see you guys in the next one.